The night dragged on, heavy with the scent of rain that never came. Cole sat on the porch, lantern dim beside him, staring into the emptiness that stretched beyond his land. Inside the barn, the Apache girl slept, her breathing uneven, her arm bound tight. He couldn't stop hearing her words. "You just started something you can't stop." They echoed in his mind like a warning carved in stone. He had fought Apaches before, seen what happened when boundaries blurred. But this felt different. This wasn't a battle. It was a reckoning. Somewhere in that barn lay the truth of a land soaked in blood, and he was now part of it. The wind picked up, whistling through the old fence posts. Cole rose slowly, rubbing his tired eyes. He hadn't meant to care, but something about that girl, her defiance, her strength, her pain, clawed at him in ways he didn't understand. He went inside quietly, boots thudding against the wood floor. The lantern still flickered beside her bed of hay. She stirred, muttering in her native tongue, fever creeping through her veins. Cole crouched beside her, placing a damp cloth on her forehead. "You're burning up," he murmured. Her eyes fluttered open for a moment, glazed and unfocused. "They'll kill you," she whispered, voice barely audible. "If they find me here, they'll kill you too." Cole didn't flinch. "Let 'em try," he said quietly. But deep down he knew she was right. The nearest Apache camp wasn't more than a day's ride away. If they thought he'd captured or hurt one of their own, blood would spill before sunrise. He sighed, leaning back against the post. "What's your name?" he asked softly. She hesitated, blinking through the haze of fever. "Nayeli," she finally whispered. "It means I am loved." Cole nodded slowly, the name echoing in his mind. "Nayeli," he repeated, as if saying it made it real. She studied him with wary eyes, trying to read the man who had every reason to leave her behind. "Why do you stay?" she asked. Cole looked away. "Maybe because I've been running too long," he said. "Maybe because I'm tired of burying things." Outside, thunder rumbled far away. The desert smelled like a storm waiting to break. Cole tightened the blanket around her shoulders. She winced but didn't pull away. "Rest," he said. "You'll need it." He turned to leave, but her hand shot out, weak but insistent, gripping his wrist. "You talk like you've seen ghosts," she whispered. Cole froze, eyes fixed on her trembling fingers. "Maybe I have," he said, "and maybe they're not done with me yet." When he stepped out into the open air, lightning split the sky. Rain finally came, soft at first, then hard, drumming against the roof like drums of war. He looked toward the distant ridge, where faint fires burned, too steady to be lightning, too organized to be random. His stomach tightened. Riders! He knew it before he even saw them. A line of figures moved in the darkness, torches flickering like angry eyes. The Apache were coming. Cole ran back to the barn, grabbed his rifle and checked the chamber. Nayeli sat up, fear cutting through her fever. "They're here," she breathed. He nodded grimly. "Yeah, and they ain't coming for peace." For a moment, silence fell between them, the kind of silence that comes before a storm breaks. Cole moved to the doorway, steady and calm, eyes fixed on the horizon. He'd seen too many fights end in regret. He didn't want this one to end the same. "If they take me," Nayeli said quietly, "don't fight them." Cole turned, his voice low, certain. "Ain't in my nature to stand by." He chambered around, lifted his rifle and waited as the thunder rolled closer, not from the sky, but from the hooves pounding the desert floor. The firelight from the riders cast long, shifting shadows over the land. In that moment, Cole Brandt wasn't just a rancher anymore. He was a man caught between two worlds, one dying, one demanding to be heard. And as the first raindrops splashed against the barn door, he realized there was no going back. The girl he'd saved might just be the reason he lost everything, or the reason he finally found peace. The sun was dying over the Arizona plains, bleeding red into the horizon. The wind carried the smell of dust, sweat, and something older, the kind of silence that comes after gunfire. On the edge of a weather-beaten ranch, a man named Cole Brandt leaned against a fence post, hat pulled low, eyes heavy with a loneliness only the desert could teach. He'd bought this land cheap, too cheap, and maybe now he was beginning to understand why. They said the land was cursed, that the old Apache spirits still wandered here, restless and angry. Cole didn't believe in stories. He believed in hard work, broken bones, and long nights with only the sound of the wind to talk to. But that night, the wind carried something else. A sound he hadn't heard in years, a cry. It came faint, carried over the hills, soft, almost swallowed by the wind. He froze, then he heard it again, a woman's voice. He grabbed his lantern, his rifle, and started walking toward the corral. The sand shifted under his boots, the night deepening with every step. Behind the old barn, under the fading orange light, he found her. An Apache girl, barely more than 20, her dress torn, her hands bound with rawhide. There was blood on her arm, and her dark eyes glimmered with both fear and fury. She tried to stand, but stumbled, gasping as the wound reopened. Cole lowered his rifle slowly. "Easy," he muttered, more to himself than her. "I ain't gonna hurt you." But she didn't trust him, not yet. Her breathing came in sharp, ragged gasps. The smell of iron and earth filled the air. Somewhere in the distance, a coyote howled. He stepped closer, keeping his hands open, calm, steady. "You're hurt," he said. "Let me take a look." She shook her head violently. "Don't touch me," she hissed, voice trembling with pain. "Leave me," Cole hesitated. He could have walked away. He should have. But something in her eyes stopped him. Something that didn't belong to an enemy. He'd seen hatred before. This wasn't it. This was fear and exhaustion. He set the rifle down, took a step forward, then another, until he was close enough to see the wound clearly. A deep cut running along her forearm, dried blood crusted around the edges. Infection had already begun. "You'll die if I don't clean that," he said quietly. "I can make it quick." Her lips trembled. "Easy," she whispered, eyes closing. "It hurts." Cole swallowed hard, torn between mercy and caution. Every story he'd ever heard about Apache raids, every scar on his back, every ghost in his sleep, they all shouted at him to turn away. But the man he used to be, the man his father raised, he couldn't. He tore a strip from his shirt, poured whiskey from his flask over her wound. She flinched and bit down a cry. "I know," he murmured. "I know it burns." His hands were rough but gentle, the way a man learns after losing too many things he didn't mean to break. The lantern light flickered, throwing gold across her face. Her eyes glistened with tears that refused to fall. "Why?" she breathed. "Why help me?" Cole didn't answer right away. He looked out toward the horizon, that endless line where the world ended and heaven began. "'Cause I can't watch another person bleed out in this dust," he finally said. For the first time her gaze softened. The tension in her shoulders eased, just a little. He wrapped her arm carefully, tied the cloth tight and sat back. Silence filled the barn, the kind that carried weight. Then she spoke again, voice faint but sharp as flint. "They'll come for me." "Who?" "My people," she whispered. "Or yours. Either way they'll come." Cole stared at her, realizing too late that he'd stepped into something bigger than he could see. The ranch wasn't just haunted by stories. It was haunted by history. He stood, adjusted his hat, and looked at her one last time before turning to leave. "Rest. You'll need your strength." She looked up, eyes fierce even through the pain. "You think you saved me," she said softly. "But you just started something you can't stop." Cole paused at the doorway, lantern light outlining his silhouette. "Maybe," he said, "but I'll see it through." The wind outside had shifted, colder now, as if the desert itself had taken a breath. Somewhere in that silence both of them understood. This night had changed everything.